welcome to the Fit2 Talk podcast.
You just found the #1 health and fitness podcast for performers. And you're listening to a guest episode during which we are joined by, well, wonderful people from the industry who are fit to talk about it.
Yes, and if you like what we do, please leave us a review, or on Spotify, click that follow button.
And if you like our meaningful, helpful and accurate information, then you may indeed want to be coached by us. If so, Fit to Perform may be for you.
Yeah, you can find out more information about that over on our website or on our Instagram.
Moving on, we have an incredible guest for you today.
Yes, today we have a TV personality in the building. You'll find out why that's funny later on. Right now, it means nothing to you. But yeah, we've got a TV personality. He's also been in Legally Blonde. He was the UPS guy in Legally Blonde. Fantastic part. Iconic part, some would say. On TV, he's been in I Hate Susie. And most famously, he's currently in Emmerdale playing Mackenzie Boyd.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good friend of mine, known each other for a long time, who's in Mojo, the play, and importantly, now a proud member of Fit2 Perform too, and doing fantastically well, training for a marathon.
Training for the marathon.
He's literally
wild.
Smashing it. He looks like a superhero, which again is relevant a bit later on. Please enjoy the luscious Lawrence Robb. So yeah, no audience right now, which is probably better. Chili is the most gorgeous dog.
Oh, what breed?
Cockapoo.
Nice.
Bloody maniac.
Really?
Absolute maniac. Selective hearing.
Selective hearing is the best.
Yeah, because you've got it.
Because Bert has selective hearing. I've got a French bulldog called Bert, and I also personally do have selective hearing. Mostly just with you.
What?
But Bert has selective hearing in spectacular fashion.
He does.
And it's always at the most inappropriate times.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Chili, he bloody got out the door yesterday. We live on like a main street, so it's a busy road. And I went out to check the car yesterday to get something out of the car, and he fucking ran.
So stressful.
And he was like,
so stressful.
and then he was like standing in the pavement. I'm like, Chili, come on. He was like, no.
You're like, oh my God.
And you're like, no sudden movements, don't run away.
I love what you meant, because for this, I've never done this before. I've researched you.
Oh.
Right. So, which, you know, we've known each other for quite a long time.
It's over 10 years. Do you know that? It's over 10 years.
Oh God, it must be now. Yeah. 2013 probably.
But the start of 2013.
Wow. So we've known each other for a really long time. So I've never felt the need to Google you in any way. And the things I found were fantastic. Honestly,
Really?
Just people love to make stuff up.
Have you seen my net worth? Have you seen there's something about my net worth in it?
It's fantastic.
It's brilliant.
And you're like, wow, am I? That's great. Could somebody tell me where that is?
Apparently I'm worth somewhere between $5 and $10 million US.
Oh, all right.
Apparently.
Take that.
The dollar has gone down. You're like, where did you get that one?
Where have you seen this?
Seriously, if you've got any tips, because I would love to be worth between $5 and $10 million.
Oh my
fantastic. God. Honestly, some of the stuff, because we were chatting about Chili, and one of them was like, he's an avid dog lover, and he posts regularly about the intimate details of his life with his dogs. And I was like, because you've got 2 dogs up at home, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if it's quite
that's a way to describe it.
Like intimate pictures. Like, I don't think so.
Really intimate.
That's a strange way of phrasing it. They just take like anything that you do and turn it into like that is your character.
They just run with it.
You're like, okay, cool.
It's utterly remarkable, some of the things. I've stopped doing it, to be honest. But did you do it like recently in the last? Yeah.
Because obviously at the time of recording, your storyline in Emmerdale is like very like in focus, shall we say?
I've just been stabbed.
You've just been stabbed. You've literally just been stabbed. Because I actually rechecked this morning. So, like, lots of stuff about an axe coming up as well, which was like, is the character axed in the set? Because obviously they didn't know if you were dead for a while.
Oh, right. I see.
And then they're like, you weren't stabbed with an axe.
I was like, how is this working?
Yeah, that would be challenging, but not impossible. And that people go nuts for that.
Oh yeah, they do. They do. It's quite remarkable. I'm running the London Marathon as well, and I put a post up. Yes, I'm loving it. Not loving it. But I put a post up yesterday, and there's someone who absolutely despises my character, and I checked it this morning. So she posted something about how I'm not saying enough bad things about my character, and I'm not taking responsibility for it, and as a result, it's triggering a lot of like rape survivors.
Wow,
which is quite dark.
Yeah,
but it then transpired that loads of people then started like keyboard warrioring. Say that quickly. To my rescue, and bless them. And it's like over 30 comments just about how my character is not doing what he should be doing. And I'm like, it's assault.
Yeah,
it's made up.
If everyone in the soap was doing what they should be doing, it'd be really boring.
Yeah,
because nothing would happen.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
You're like, you wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
The reason you're so engaged in this is because he's done these things.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. But on the plus side, that means 30 comments on a post about running the marathon, which means more money for the Samaritans, hopefully.
That's the hope. And that's, at the end of the day, that's really the only reason that I'm doing it.
You're like, we should tell people. So you were originally like my client pre Fit2, and then now as a member of Fit2. So the marathon training is rather full on, and
tricky.
Currently in its in the most tricky phase over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You look nervous now.
I did 24 and a half kilometers on Saturday, and that is without a shadow of a doubt the longest I've ever run in my life. And wow. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that twice. I mean, it's not technically twice, it's like an extra 17 on top of that, but
It's fine.
But I don't know how you did it, Steffan. Genuinely, I don't know how you did it, because my legs were on 24. I was like, I can't keep going. I've
told you how I did it, which was rage.
Yeah, you were rage fueled. Yeah. I saw you running, and you were just powering through.
Have you done it as well?
No, I just watched him do it.
And I'll be there
from
watching
a safe
you.
Distance.
Have you got another client doing it as well?
My partner's doing it.
Yes, Maddie doing it.
Yeah, Maddie's doing it too. And actually, do you have another client? No. No, just you two from this. No, Drew's doing it. Drew's doing it. Yeah, so yes.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So yes is the simple answer. So they're supporting, you'll see me. I say you'll see me. Of the 100,000 people supporting, you're very unlikely to see me, but I'll do my best. I'll shout really loud.
Yeah, I mean, you did say that running the marathon is one thing, but watching people run the marathon is arguably more stressful.
I've done both, and I can tell you which one stressed me out more.
It's incredibly stressful. I really thought I was going to miss you like 3 times.
Yeah. I
was running around. I was doing my own personal marathon on the tubes.
You have to be so organised and then know that everything you organised goes to shit because there's so many people. You're like, oh God, I can't.
No internet as well.
No internet.
Oh, yeah. And the tracking gets like really I was looking at the tracking going, okay, Steffan's like a mile and a bit away from me. This is going to be fine. I found myself a nice spot. Then I reopened the tracking and it was like, oh no, you're 2 miles past me. Yeah. Fantastic.
He's gone.
He's long gone. I have made a huge error here.
Oh shit, really? So really I've said to my parents are coming down to watch because my brother and my sister are doing it. And that was another reason why I said this year would be the year that I would do it, because I got an email from work saying that we're calling all runners, and I knew that Abby and JJ were doing it already. And I was like, I'm never going to openly, actively go onto the ballot, for example, to run the marathon. It's never really been something that I've been like, oh my God, or I've watched the marathon and gone, oh yeah, I really want to do that. I've never felt that ever. But Abby and JJ, I guess, were another reason where I was like, I really ought to do it.
Yeah, no.
That's never going to happen again.
I'll level with you, and you're going to look forward to this now. The last 3 or 4 miles.
I've heard of shit.
Obviously, they're the worst bit. And you would think that you'd go, at that point, you go, oh, there's 2K left, for instance. Let's say you get to kilometre 40. You're like, there's 2K left. You're like, not now. You're like, oh, that will inspire me to keep running. No.
Doesn't.
At kilometre 40, you're like, I can't run for another 10 minutes. Like, there is no way that's happening. And at that point, the people you see next to you, that you hopefully you're running past, right, are straight up dying. Some of them are literally dying with St. John's ambulance. You're running past them oh, well, they're not good. Like it's literally you've reached an apocalyptic end race scenario where you're like, God, I just need to finish this thing.
Did that not almost give you an element of impetus to keep going? Like running away from the ambulances?
It did. Do you know what? I picked up, I was just chatting to people on the way as I was running. And if there was somebody who looked like they were kind of going my pace, who looked like they were really struggling, I'd be like, hey man, come on, you got this. And then one guy was like, oh, thanks, man. And kind of joined me at that point. And he was with me for 3 kilometers, pretty close to the end, which was super helpful. Weirdly enough, he was like, I would have stopped running if you hadn't chatted. And I was like, me too. I didn't do it for you. I ran out of rage. I had nothing left.
Oh my God.
You're going to have a great time. Ish.
Well, I know that my sister and my brother will probably beat me. I know that my sister will. She's aiming to run, sub 3:30, and I'll be lucky if I run sub 4. So I'm definitely not going to be biting at the tails of abs. So yeah, I'll need my own form of inspiration come that point.
Let's get them. Have you got a smartwatch?
I don't know.
You don't. It's a shame because if people text you and it's on your phone during the marathon being like, you can send support messages via the app, which is great, but they don't come through. But people can obviously text you if they come through on your watch when you're running.
So you get an influx at the end. Well done, keep going.
It's literally that. You think that when you're sending them that it's going oh, you're at mile 13, you've got it, you're smashing this or whatever it is. And then there's 2 hours after you finished, you're like, well, that wasn't helpful.
I could have done with that.
Yeah. Thanks. But if people text you, obviously, if it comes through on your watch, then that might actually be useful because you can kind of view that as you run without
well, maybe that's a shout.
Breaking stride.
Maybe that's a shout. Maybe I'll do that.
Next purchase. After this, he's going straight
to Apple.
We haven't done one of the things that I usually ask at the start of these episodes is we have this thing that we ask all our guests to do called Liar Liar, where we would ask that you try and tell us a lie at some point during the podcast episode.
I'm not running the London Marathon.
Yeah. Already done it. That was it. You try and tell us a lie, and at the end, we will find out that you've said a lie, so you can say something, don't worry. The magazines aren't going to go, Lawrence Robb is not running the London Marathon. Because we'll find out, we'll try and guess what we think the lie was, or whether you have lied or not, if you don't remember to do it.
Okay.
Which is very possible for most of our guests.
Pretty much guarantees.
But are you up for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
So that means I need to think of a lie.
Yeah. We'll give you 10 seconds.
I've got no idea what my lie is going to
be. Let's find out. You might forget. So hit us then really all the way back to the start. How does the story of Lawrence Robb begin?
How far back are we going?
Well, generations. No. Yeah, right to the very beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Paisley, and I grew up initially I grew up in a little town, I grew up in a little town called Kilmacombe, then we moved to Beath, and then we moved back to Kilmacombe, and I went to school in Kilmacombe for the first 16 years of my life, and then I got accepted into the Dance School of Scotland, which had a musical theatre course incorporated throughout it. And I spent my last 2 years of school there. And then I went on to the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, which is now the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. And then I moved down to London. met yourself.
That's where it all went wrong.
Yeah, Steffan and I met in the social constructs of Harrods.
We did.
Oh, okay.
We did.
Right.
And do you know what? I've got so many friends from that time period, right? There's this. Tell us about TBC. Tell me.
TBC.
I don't even know where to start with TBC. TBC was an agency, first and foremost, I guess you could call it that, that employed actors and dancers and artists to go in and cover the counters of various beauty brands and various other things in shops like John Lewis, Selfridges and Harrods. And we had a great time. I think it was the people, it was our lack of it was our not wanting to be there that brought us closer, I think.
Yeah. When everyone would rather be doing a show.
Yeah.
But instead you're going, hello sir, would you like to try XYZ perfume? And they're like, no.
Do you remember the flamingo leg?
No.
Like you had to spray and bring your leg up.
Yes. How absurd could the interaction be? And them go, wow, this is like high fashion, this concept. Like it started off with that vague thing of going, oh, can we slip this word into the interaction? You go, can I get cucumber into the sentence? And then it literally became, can you tell them a story about how monkeys found the ingredients and trained monkeys with shock collars found the ingredients in the desert and still make them buy the perfume? And you're like, it turns out, yes, you can. That's what we discovered. Because it was that sort of, it wasn't just Harrods, there was lots of other stores as well. You're like, you could do so much and people would buy into the sort of madness of the story of these things and they would really... People would
buy into it. Yeah, they would totally buy into it.
And they'd probably buy more because of that.
100%.
That's the thing. The more absurd you became, the more they would buy.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing when you go, realistically, what is this? It's smelly water. Like, I'm selling you some smelly water and it's going to make you smell a little bit better for a period of time, depending on the quality of the smelly water. And we can market this however you wish, and I can tell you whatever story you like, but do you like the smell? And if you do, and can you afford it? Like they're the two variables, really. But they want the story of how a blind craftswoman has created this, who spent 30 years experiencing the world through just their nose. And you're like, yes, 100%. That's the kind of stuff that we're cracking up.
Oh my God! But it was some of the best times of our life.
100%. I didn't know it at the time.
No, you didn't, because you hated it. But
everyone lived in this sort of hatred for it. But then we had these events and special things that we got to do, which were
highlights.
And there were just these big, a big group of mates who was 30, maybe more of us at one point, that would really grab life by the horns at that point, where at least it felt like it. Yeah. You're like, let's make this good.
Yeah. I think that we did. I think that we absolutely did. Just by being ourselves and just by, having fun together. And it is some of the core memories of our 20s, 100%.
Absolutely. Great decisions and terrible decisions included.
Yeah. Unreal
in there. And there's some lovely things. And we should say that the agency was one of those ones where they'd give you shifts, and because you were a performer, you could call up and say, I'm not coming in today. I've got an audition for...
An audition?
Well, I've got an audition for The Hangover. Something else. But and they'd be like, okay. You're like, cool.
Yep.
But one of the other things about this...
Are you going to... Okay,
no, you go.
Are you going to talk about you had to get your agent to send an email?
Yeah. So we all had fake agents.
Fake agents.
That is genius.
And some of us used the same email account. Yeah, all four of the boys are in for this today. So I've got these clients in. Sorry.
Oopsies.
But when you arrived, they checked your appearance. You had to pass the appearance check. And you had to be, for the girls, they had to be wearing certain height of heels. Mm-hmm. We all had...
That's all changed now, by the way.
Because they can't do it anymore because it's...
illegal.
It's really messed up. Well, they, not to this was all in one of the shops we worked in. Let's leave it ambiguous. People would regularly be sent home for what they looked like. And I don't mean how they dressed. I mean literally what they looked like.
If you hadn't like shaved, you were like...
This happened all the time.
It did.
All the time. And again, not mentioning which store or what that was. Message in.
But it was quite, at one point, it was proper cutthroat, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
I remember getting sent home with no pay,
Yeah.
which at the end of the shift, because I went up and asked someone where the bathroom was.
Yeah. And they're like, you're a member of staff, so you should know your way around. It's embarrassing. A customer might hear you. And you're like, what?
Yeah. It was like one of my first days. And I was like, go home.
Yeah. Awful. But so within that adversity, we hopefully cultivated a fun...
Yeah.
It sounds it.
And I feel like it's one of those things, if you learn what you could get away with, you could have a good time. But like you had to go through that learning process.
I remember you were a manager for one thing and I overstepped the mark once.
Oh no, Jesus.
Steffan gave me into trouble.
What was it? Do you remember? We've got...
Is that a fire alarm?
Fire alarm. Is that us? Is that us?
It's not hot in here, so we got time.
No, I think it's across the street.
Wait. No, you're fine.
We should mention we're not in the normal studio, but let's stop now. So what a fun addition to the podcast. Keep going, sorry.
One of our friends and colleagues were doing, so there was a thing called, I wouldn't say it, but a big fashion company had taken over the Georgian Cafe, which is the fourth floor of Harrods. And it was like, the Georgian Cafe is huge, and it was turned into a store essentially, or a museum for this fashion house. And we were all trained as raconteurs to take people round and tell them the history of this fashion brand. And one of our colleagues and close friends was in the middle of a tour. And I thought it would be funny to walk past and deliberately trip.
Oh, it was glorious. It was honestly, it was glorious.
Fantastic choice.
It was not even a small trip. It wasn't like a little cool to make them chuckle.
You think of a caricature trip, times it by 10, and it was somewhere around.
It was like a flailing arm, like a giant flying collision.
Oh my God.
But with those things, right? Because you go... I would suggest that I was actively recommending that we mess around in order to make it fun, but we just had to be within what we could get away with.
And I couldn't get away with that, so I deserve you to take me aside and go, listen, mate, all for that, but come on.
Put it back. But and then so on some of the later on ones where it was like when it went to a bigger exhibition, we won't mention the brand name, but when it was like, I had to be really serious, then I had to have like assistant managers that I would be having meetings with going, look, you tell them what they can get away with and just pretend like that they have to. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
When you go like, I have to present this face of being, it was really boring on a different switch because I'm like, I want to do the fun stuff too.
They absolutely, they went to town on you that time. That was brutal.
That was
brutal.
Really, I've told you about before when I became operations manager. Fancy first title on that. That was a rough time. But anyway, this is in no way about me. So less of me involved in this, the better. So growing up in Scotland, then around that time, at what point did you go, hey, I maybe want to do this theatre thing? Because we got to Dance Theatre of Scotland, but why?
Dance
School of Scotland. Sorry.
Well, I was swimming before that, and I guess I came to a crossroads of not knowing. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, if I'm honest. And it was my mum that put me. I mean, I remember in my third year at my first school, at St Columbus, I got offered. It was like this school panto, and I got offered the role of Buttons in that. And I'd never done it before. And I was playing rugby and doing all that kind of sports. And initially I was like, not going to do that. I'm playing rugby. I'm with boys. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I remember my guidance teacher at the time took me aside one day and was like, why don't you audition for it? And I'm like, because I don't want to do it.
Yeah. That's a good reason. That's a good reason.
And she was like, just go and audition. And I was like, all right, okay, fine. So I went and auditioned for it, got the roll of buttons, and I absolutely loved it. And it was just brilliant. And I'd done singing and stuff before that. Like I was a choir boy before that. I'd sung in various national youth choirs in Scotland. So I knew I could sing, but I'd never acted before really. And it was then my mum took that and ran with it. And a year later I auditioned for the dance school, and that's how that started. And the dance school they kind of cater you for, to audition for London schools. Stunning.
There's that sound that we know and love.
So we just had to have a little break in the middle of the podcast recording, which we basically never had to do before, because of some lovely work that's happening around here. I know I think we mentioned it already, but rather than sacrifice sound quality for everybody else, we took a brief
little hiatus.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
Good time.
Mid-story for you, that was.
I think I remember where I was.
Buttons. Yeah.
Buttons, and then Dance School of Scotland. And what Dance School of Scotland did was they tended to kind of push you towards, auditioning for, oh my goodness, auditioning for schools down in London and the one in Scotland, the RCS, which is where I ended up going. And that's kind of, I spent 3 years at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, now the RCS, and then moved down here. And then that's when we got to mucking about at TBC.
The joys. I love that you mentioned the singing aspect too, because like people who maybe just know you from Emmerdale might not know that one, that you can sing. Like, first of all, but also, you post stuff on social media sometimes of you singing, right? Like
occasionally,
Silent Night, occasionally. But Lawrence is a fantastic singer, and I actually found what is happening. There's so much background noise. Hopefully, it's not in the recording.
It's all right.
This quote was written about you, about singing. It is believed Lawrence has hopes his newfound fame on the popular show will assist in helping him gain a following of fans who will support his music ambitions.
Oh, here we go.
No, I've known you for 10 years, and I was like, that's bollocks. Oh, you've just done Emmerdale, so that
now
you can pursue your career in
Now's your chance
as a recording artist. So, hey, look, if in future they obviously believe that that's your primary. That was from Leeds Live. That was
Leeds Live.
Actual quote.
Good old Leeds Live.
Really good.
Have they put it in quotation marks?
I have. They didn't quote you. No, they've. That's just what they wrote about you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've done an interview where I'm like, I actually really want to be like Harry Styles.
Yeah, I am the new Harry Styles. Wow, and obviously one of the things that you did pre Emmerdale. Well, there was loads actually, but which we'll talk about. But one that we mentioned the other day, which was Legally Blonde, right?
Oh, brilliant! What a show! Yeah, well, I did that. That was a great. That's arguably one of my favourite things that I've done post graduating. Just everyone that I worked with were just fab. It was just a brilliant show, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. We started that in Leicester, and then we went over to Asia, which was brilliant as well.
And it was a long tour, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't that long in Asia. We only really went to Korea, but it was mainly in the Leicester Curve, and that's a brilliant theatre.
Yeah. And so how was that, right? You went to Dance School of Scotland, but you were heavily having to dance in that show, right? In Legally Blonde? There's a story behind that laugh.
Excellent.
Well, I played kind of two parts. The first part.
Oh,
excuse me. The first half of the show, I played a variation of Aaron Schultz, and they sing Harvard's the perfect place for me. But we called it Fergus McCall because I was from Scotland, so we changed it a little bit. And then in the second half, I played Kyle. Kyle, the UPS guy.
UPS guy, who is famously there to be some sexy eye candy, is he not?
Yeah, just to woo Paulette, really. And I loved that. That was brilliant. My favourite part of that was, his down when he got to walk on. I loved that.
Were you in the shorts? Were you in like short shorts? Yeah.
Yes.
Short shorts. It's iconic, that role. That role is just fantastic.
You say, the UPS guy, and everyone's like, Legally Blonde? Yeah. yeah. Everyone knows. So then what happened after that? Because obviously we've got this obviously there's a bunch of other stuff on the CV. We by the way, at the start of the episode, we've told everyone.
Oh, right. Okay.
They know what's going on.
They all know. But how did you get to that? Like, you had Mojo and the play, and then I Hate Susie came about. Obviously, did either of those feel like a big break for you? Did it feel like this is cracked it?
Mojo probably did, and that was probably the first thing that I did. It was, but I think my naivety naivety to the industry probably played a part there. I knew that I was in uncharted waters, certainly with the people I was working with, because frankly, no graduate should ever be able to say that for the first 5 years of my life, I was just elaborately name dropping people. That's generally what was happening, and which was great. But I Hate Susie came at a weird time because I got I Hate Susie, and then very quickly after COVID came. I Hate Susie probably was a big moment in terms of, for me professionally, mentally, I guess. But the big break where I was like, okay, so things have really started happening was probably Emmerdale.
Yeah. So I Hate Susie obviously you were co-starring with Billie Piper. Is that right?
Yeah.
And she's directing it too. Like, really, was that right?
No.
She was registered as director when I was researching.
No.
Poor research from me.
No, she didn't. It was split. There was two directors that did
different bits.
That did different parts of the. So that I think one director did the first three, and then another director did the second three. But Billie Piper wrote it. And
that's what it is. Okay.
She wrote it and produced it. And
so she did everything else.
She co-wrote it with Lucy Preble.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a brilliant thing to do. The scene that I did was hugely daunting. Because I don't think I was doing anything with you at this point.
No.
But yeah, I had to do a sex scene. And yeah, I mean, that's a hugely daunting thing for anybody to do. But I worked with a boy or a guy called David Thackeray, who is an intimacy coordinator. And he walked us both. It was myself and Layla Fazzard that did it. It wasn't actually myself and Billie Piper. So I played a love interest of Layla Fazzard, who played Billie Piper's best friend and agent in the show. And I was a love interest for her. And we were taken aside and put into a room, and that makes it sound really funny. That's not what so David kind of worked us through, and it was almost like learning a dance.
Yeah.
Which, up until what, 10 years ago, intimacy coordinators didn't exist.
Yeah. And
actors were just given a script and be like, well, you're acting, so just do it.
Yeah. You're like, do you do that with sword fights? Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, it was the best experience to work in that way.
Wow.
And I was so thankful for how he did it and how careful it all was, and how much care and respect, they put into both myself and Layla during it.
I love that, because there's this argument people have that with intimacy coordinators, that the argument against is that they're like, oh, well, it takes away the freedom of having an impulse and going with it as an actor. But like, yeah, it's not a point to be following your impulses when it involves
absolutely not
level of intimacy with another human. Yeah. You're like, you got to stay set. And weirdly, having the structure and knowing exactly what that is allows you to be more free.
Yeah. And it allowed us to I knew the points that I wasn't allowed, how far I was allowed to go, what I was allowed to, what I was allowed to do, what I wasn't allowed to do. And she knew the same. So did David, more importantly. So we could choreograph something that really, looked real on screen. It was brilliant.
Just better.
Yeah.
Infinitely better
it's just
in every way.
awkward. Like when you go back to, I'm not going to quote any movies, but there's a movie that I'm thinking of in particular where it's so awkward because you can tell that they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I don't know.
Like, is this
am I allowed to do this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you've ever had to do them with some. Maybe I'm not going to ask you that because it's. I've had to do them with somebody who naturally I didn't have that kind of chemistry with in life. It was our first scene together. It was the first time we properly met, and I think naturally we would be like acquaintances and maybe friends, but not like good friends. So it was like quite difficult, and this was before intimacy coordinators were a thing, and I won't say the thing I was on, and it was kind of awful. Like this is just awkward for everyone because you're going, just do something. And you're like, no,
yeah,
no, thanks. So, yeah, good times. Moving on from that. So realistically, one of the things I wanted to chat to you about, which is completely left field from this, is that you're learning to fly a plane.
Yeah,
which is so casual.
That's incredible.
He sent me a video, however long ago, of just him like flying a plane.
Casual.
I was like,
love it. Yeah.
What? And it's like this like weird sort of like paradigm shifting moment where you're like, oh, you're in control of something that's in the sky.
It is I don't know why. Well, I do. Again, it's my mum. I'm blaming my mum for a lot of stuff here. But my mum, I remember my mum so well showing me a video of Jamiroquai flying a helicopter in one of his music videos. I can't even tell you the name of the music video. But I remember watching that and being like, oh, that's so cool. I want to do that. And initially what I wanted to do was learn how to fly a helicopter. It's significantly harder to fly a helicopter than it is to fly a regular fixed wing plane. So I was advised by various pilots and instructors that I should try and get my fixed wing plane one first. And then if you're still loving it and still want to dip into helicopters, then that's when you should do that. So yeah, I mean, if I eventually get my PPL, my private pilot license, it will end up hopefully changing to a helicopter private pilot.
That's insane. Also, like, I can see people that having a little fixed wing plane on your estate or wherever it might be at one point. When you've got a helicopter, that's another level of.
That's another level.
You take things up a notch.
That's a flex, isn't it?
Should we go to London, darling? Oh shit! Yeah, okay, fine. Wasn't there a landing pad on Harrods?
I don't know. I don't actually know that.
I think there's a landing pad on it.
I think there is. Yeah. I think there is.
Because when Barack Obama and Michelle Obama arrived, they landed on the roof. So I'm pretty sure because they don't want to have to walk in because obviously security and stuff. So
there is.
There's your goal.
And they close off like
land on Harrods.
Land on Harrods.
You don't need permission.
Nah, don't worry about that.
Harrods probably got like the most sophisticated air defense system in the country. You're like, well, the national landmarks are ruined, but Harrods is safe.
Don't you worry about Harrods.
It's gone. It's fine. Alongside that, then, so you obviously like learning new things. Well, obviously on Emmerdale, you've had to do a whole bunch of stunts. And one that we had to train for a little bit. We didn't have to, but we chose to train for a little bit. Was the recent car incident?
Yeah.
Tell us what you actually had to do.
Well, it was. I mean, that was. I felt like I was Tom Cruise, to be honest, and I absolutely loved it. There was the concept was that we were going to be driving down a country lane, and a van was to hit us, hit me first, and then the car was to roll, and it rolled. I mean, the clip is actually really, really cool, so you should check it out. But
I definitely have.
It rolled like, I don't know, 10 times after, my character being hit on the side. And, we all then wake up on the edge of a cliff, and it's almost like the Italian Job where if you've seen the Italian Job, that they're obviously on one side they've got, is that right? They've got the gold on one side, and then if they go back, that they can save themselves. So they've got their stuff that they want to get, but if they go too far, the whole thing goes. It was kind of like that, except it was like Sophie's Choice version, where Mackenzie had to pick between the mother of his child or his wife. And, there was a massive, like, who's he going to pick? And they left it at the end of the episode. As it turns out, he picks his wife and allows the mother of his child to plummet to what he thinks is her death. Obviously, it's Emmerdale, and
nobody dies.
That never happened. But it was at one point Mackenzie, after being hit by a van first, was holding up a car up over the cliff and managing to keep it from. Yeah, he turned into Captain America.
He literally gave it like clinging to this scale, like, which is not an unheard of feat of strength. Like, it is physically possible.
Not after being hit by a van.
There's that. But we are in Soapland.
There's lifting it maybe, like, so the weight isn't quite.
It's not
holding it.
It's not that he's. It makes more sense when you watch it than when Lawrence is.
I might be over dramatizing it a little bit.
It is. I'll show you. It is more plausible.
In my head, it's fantastic,
but it is still fantastic.
What did you think that he's like? Leaning over,
just holding over.
Just be like, no,
fingertips.
I got this.
And then he just flips
just climb up my arm. It'll be fine.
So that was actually physically demanding, right?
Yeah, it was, because I had to sit in like this low squat for the camera angle for 10 minutes of just like leaning back. So it was big in the old quads.
When you did that, you looked massive. Just saying. Just saying. That's 15 kilograms of muscle you put on right there. Which was, that's, people don't understand that those things are still physically difficult to do.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think sometimes when people watch them, they go, oh, what trickery did they do to make that look hard? And you're like, yeah, there's loads of that involved in order so that you're not actually just holding a car over the edge, obviously. But it's still, you still have to physically be strong and able and fit.
Oh yeah.
To do that thing in the first place, to make it look like it's actually feasible. But I'm so glad you felt like Captain America and Tom Cruise.
I got my Captain America moment. So, laughing.
Do your parents watch?
They dip in and out. Initially, when I first got it, my dad and my brother were like, right, nobody talk. It's 7:00, Emmerdale. Let's go. They've kind of dipped. They don't watch it as much. My mum dips in and out. My gran watches it religiously. But my mum dips in and out. So it's not like we have to get home for 7:30. I think it is now. I should really know that. 7:30.
You just make it. You don't need to know what it is. So does your gran go, oh, he's not nice. He's not nice, that guy you play.
Yeah, sometimes. He has mellowed out though, to be fair. Like, he's not as evil and as toxic as he once was. He still is.
I did read that Lawrence Robb, the actor, has put in, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but exceptional work to humanize and give this potentially two-dimensional villain a heart. And I was like, that's lovely. You're like, there you go. So I'm glad you said that.
Well, I think what tends to happen when you first get the part, they have a preconceived idea of what the character's going to be. And if they see longevity in the character, they tend to get to know you a little bit more, the writers anyway, and they start to kind of almost, not cater for you, because they always have an idea. Sorry, I've just banged that mic. Not cater for you, but always have an idea of where that character is going to go, but they tend to soften it a little bit. Because it makes it slightly more relatable for anyone watching and yourself as an actor. Because if I was just playing a one-dimensional evil person, yeah, it's great initially, but I don't think that's sustainable for like 3 years.
No. Also, people would just lose interest.
Yeah, because they'd be like, it's boring. Like, what else have you got? You know?
It is more fun. So you mentioned this a little bit earlier on, that you'd get people that really don't like the character. Yeah. But you're playing a villain on a national soap, right? Were you at all worried about that?
No, I was excited.
And then,
I mean, he's kind of merged from a villain into. I think I'd probably call him an anti-hero now, and he's
gone from Captain America to Deadpool. He's given it.
Do you know what? There's an element of that. Like he never breaks the fourth wall ever, but because we can't do that. But he definitely, I think, of all the characters, he sails that line very, very close to the wind at times, where you're like, are you? I really enjoy doing that, and I enjoy doing it with like certain characters, where we can almost cater for what the larger audience like and want, it's brilliant. I really enjoy doing that.
I love that. I obviously, this podcast is called Fit to Talk, and we're on about fitness, and we've spoken marathon stuff, but we should tell people that you are very dedicated and work very hard to stay fit and healthy and able to do your job. I just wanted to say that you do a fantastic job at that.
Thanks, Steffan.
But now I've made everyone comfortable. We were looking at your CV.
Cute. Okay.
Cute. Found some cool skills on there.
Oh no.
Yeah, there were some cool skills.
Okay.
One, I just want to say that you are regularly described as a TV personality rather than an actor, which I found irritating.
I don't know how to change that. I don't know how to change that on Google. You type in my name in Google and it's like Lawrence Robb TV personality. Yeah. I don't know how to change that. So any tips on how I can to change it to an actor, because that's what I am, that would be great.
Like, how do they delineate?
Yeah, what is the difference?
Is it when your following becomes so great that it goes beyond like being an actor?
I don't know, because anyone else in the show is an actor when I've Googled them.
Is it that you, because it's not like you've done loads of reality TV either.
I've done none.
You've done some.
Are you talking about Britain Get Singing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I've done some. But back to the CV. We've got a Russian accent.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that what? Wow.
That's
I've
on there.
Put that down there.
That's on there. Also, German accent. We love doing this. Obviously, if people are going, I'm going to change my CV after this.
Accent's coming in strong there.
And then also, jazz, tap, ballet.
Okay. Yeah.
Lovely. I mean, Dance School of Scotland.
Dance School of Scotland. Whether I could probably. I think if you're looking for a ballet dancer, don't come to me.
Oh, well, we'll change our plans for next week.
We're about to offer something, but I'll take that back now.
And then the other was pas de deux.
Ooh. Oh yeah, love that.
Which leads us to believe, if you are a TV personality, we'll have a bit of pas de deux.
What should that be? If you type in, type in my name, TV personality and pas de deux specialist.
Is strictly in the pipeline? Is that in the view sites?
Interesting, right? So that's where that was your angle.
Well, that's why I've sat in this 2 minutes of my CV.
Well, at the moment, probably not. Simply because I work for ITV and strictly as BBC.
Oh, they care about that stuff.
Yeah, they
so
do.
Maybe Dancing on Ice.
Oh yeah. Can you ice skate?
I could.
I feel like you could.
I can ice skate.
Lawrence is one of those guys that can
do everything.
Literally do everything. Like that's why it's no surprise he has his pilot license. You could be like, should we go bowling? This guy's going to be an excellent bowler. Like we'll go. Like you do archery, do darts. You're like, this guy's going to win all of those things.
Smash this,
like it doesn't matter what the event is. Like if he'd been in our curling thing, you couldn't come to our curling event at Christmas for Fit2 clients.
I'm quite good at curling.
There we go.
That's Scottish. That's a Scottish thing.
You would have been very disappointed at the actual curling ring.
Oh yeah, because they're on like the wheels, aren't they?
It was bad.
It wasn't fantastic.
Everyone else loved it, but Bobby and I were like, "This is not what we were anticipating. No. We wanted a proper curling ring."
Yeah, I wanted to start doing the sweeping. The sweeping is the bit that appeals to me.
I wanted the sweeping. I wouldn't have got a single stone anywhere near where it needed to be.
We didn't get a single stone anywhere near where it needed to be.
I did, but it's because I threw it.
Yeah, you were showing off your strength.
The shot put counts, right? It's in the rings. Nobody told me the rules.
Fine.
Yes, but I guess the question is, would you be up for it in the future?
I guess never say never.
Yeah.
My mum's keen for it to happen. I think I'd catastrophically fail in it.
But I wonder if everyone thinks that originally, because you haven't had any of the training or lessons, but you have danced before. Like
I've danced before, but I struggle to step click.
Me too. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here then. Bush Tucker challenge. Bush Tucker trial. That's a different thing. How do you feel about eating kangaroos' testicles?
Do you know what? If I was to go on to I'm a Celeb, I don't think that it's in my car. I don't think that that's what I want to do. But if I was to, I think the only thing that I would really struggle with is the eating challenges.
That's the one thing I'm like, I don't know.
Well, you guys, I don't know what you call it, GIP.
Yeah.
Bulk, whatever. We call it York or bulk, but I think I'd be sick. I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Well, now it's got to the point where they just are sick. I don't know if you watch it. They're
and then they're chugging the sick.
Yeah, and then they're like desperately.
No, that makes me feel a bit ill now.
Well, maybe we create our own Strictly.
Okay, I thought you were going to say let's create our own Bush Tucker trial, which absolutely not.
No,
our own Strictly. I'm on board.
Fit to dance.
Fit to dance.
There we go. We're
fit to tango.
Only previous podcast guests are allowed to take part.
Oh, okay.
Fit to dance,
of which we are coming up to 100.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, we'll be recording guest number 99 later today.
I'm quite sad that I'm not 100.
Me too, actually. On 98. We don't. I don't know. Our 100th guest will be. We'll work that out. But we'll make yours the most important one.
Thanks.
It shall be celebrated.
And sometimes they don't come out in the right order. So
they come out in.
It could be all messed up. Depends on if people have like a PR. People that are like, they're in this show right now. They need to be advertising this. And you're like,
do you get that?
Rarely, but yes.
Has that happened?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. If people are like, because if they finish the show at a certain time and their episode might come out 2 months later, they want to like maximize exposure all at the same time, which I completely get.
Yeah, makes sense.
I get that.
I'm on board for it. Well,
fully on board. Is there anything about health and fitness or the industry as a whole or anything that you would like to see get in the bin?
Okay. Do you know what? I think over the past, certainly 10 years, I think the industry's approach to health and people keeping fit, I think it's changed. And I think the dynamic of it has changed for the better. I think at one point when we were training, maybe, I've heard horror stories of people being, it's really sad to talk about this now, but I know certainly my partner had this, but like the teacher would come in and be like, you've had more than one banana today, you're having too much.
Yeah.
Like, I think that has changed, and I think that people are becoming more and more aware. And to be honest, I think social media plays people being able to communicate much easier than what they used to be able to do has played a massive role in that. But I do think that it's getting better. Am I right in saying that?
Well, it's hard to know because we're not in those institutions, but
anymore.
It's certainly part of our mission has been to change that.
Yeah, I feel like...
And I guess the more people talk about it, the more people are... we grow awareness for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the more we grow aware of it and the more that then teachers who then go into those institutions grow aware of it, then that is only going to end up helping more and more.
Yeah.
I think the more like old school professionals, old school teachers who were going in were reinforcing that, but now maybe this new generation of teachers...
You say this, I'm thinking about this, and people who graduated 3 years ago, and a lot of people in that kind of bracket who graduated from certain colleges or institutions who are still coming out and saying the same thing.
That's still happening.
Yeah. So actually, I think it just depends where you are. So I think it is that's part of the problem that you're going, it shouldn't depend where you are. That should be an essential thing of going, one, if you don't know, don't comment on what people are eating. Like don't give advice on somebody's nutrition unless you're qualified to do so. And being a performer does not make you qualified to do so.
No, that is true.
And being a teacher in a drama school or ex-performer or whatever it might be does not make you qualified to tell somebody what to eat or what
because
not to
you
eat.
believe that when I know I did
Yeah.
at drama school. Like if a teacher came and said to me something, I'd be like, oh yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll believe you.
They did.
I mean,
They
it's not until
absolutely
you
did.
leave.
You look up to them. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you leave. And I remember the first, this is really, this might be not the right thing to say. I don't know, but I can probably say with 80% certainty that I walked into my first rehearsal room and learned more about how a rehearsal room worked in one day than I did in my 3 years of training, because you just don't see that there, and you don't actually know that people are talking about it, and people are more aware of stuff when you're in this bubular kind of area or institution where your only form of communication to talking to professionals are your teachers or people that your teachers bring in.
Yeah.
And it's not until you, I guess, broaden your horizons and see a bit more that you realize that you're actually massively, you didn't know what you thought you knew.
Yeah, I guess. Definitely. Yeah. On that kind of note, if you were to head into a drama school, then is there any like advice you would give to people that were entering the industry now? Don't is an acceptable. Yeah.
Don't do it.
I knew that's what that laugh was. Everyone has the same.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
Well, I definitely fell into this category where, you think that when you're leaving drama school that you're going to become the next Brad Pitt or Jennifer Aniston or whoever you want to call it.
Tom Cruise. Captain
you
America.
think you're going to get right up to the
Deadpool.
top very, very quickly. And it's just not that at all. It's so cutthroat. And it's so difficult. 10 years I've spent, everyone's, I guess, spent trying to build up to a level where you're in a position where you can talk about it freely. And initially when, for the first 5 years of my life, people go like, what did you do? What do you do? And you'd go, I'm an actor. And they'd be like, oh, cool. Would I have seen you in anything? And you'd be like, no.
been to Harrods recently? Do you answer the question genuinely? Because if it's the barber or something, for years, I would just make up stuff I've been in.
Yep. Yeah. But that's so unhealthy.
Yeah. I used to be like, well, start watching EastEnders in a couple of weeks, let me tell you. That's all I'm saying. And they'd be like, oh, is it you? And I'm like, can't say.
Can't say. What a great
Can't say.
response.
And then you leave and you're like, I've just barefaced lied. I hate myself. Oh, yeah, I did that a lot. Or you'd be like, I've got stuff in the pipeline.
Got a shift tomorrow. I had an audition 6 months ago, so still waiting to hear back on that. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So I did that a lot. And I guess everyone thinks that they're, I guess it's kind of like fake it till you make it, which is fine. But there does come a point, I know I hit that point. I remember I went for a dinner with my dad. And my dad's as muggle as they come. So has very little understanding for the industry that we work in. Has no understanding of, you audition for something and, your way of not knowing is not hearing.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
That would be something that I'd probably want to get rid of.
Yeah.
There's one thing
that can definitely go in there.
Cool.
Yeah. If it's a no, just let me know.
Yeah.
Just tell me.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember him taking me aside and going, listen, we don't know, it might not happen. And like, I know it might not happen, but I'm not ready to chuck in the towel yet. Thank God I didn't. But it's I remember fighting that alongside trying to keep myself afloat, whilst all the while trying to keep my parents like not worrying about me, because that's at the end of the day, that's all they were doing. But when you're not getting auditions, when you're only working at Harrods or you're only working at
coffee shops
or a restaurant or front of house, you're not doing what you want to do, and that's why I think so many people throw in the towel so quickly, because they're not cut out for it. You need to be hard people to do it, unless you're incredibly lucky, and they're few and far between.
Yeah, and then people go, I'll be one of the lucky ones. That's what you said, isn't it? The people, finish drama school, go, I'll be one of the lucky ones. You're like, no. You don't understand what percentage that is. It's not 1%. It's like 0.00001%.
Yeah.
And everyone else has to have that resilience to constantly face either no opportunity for a long period of time or not getting the outcome you want from the opportunities that did come your way. We auditioned for very long periods of time for stuff and didn't get any of them over and over and over and over and over again. And then you're like, oh God, am I barking up the wrong tree?
Yeah, because you do. You think that, you have that, and it's really difficult to do. So my advice would be like, do it, because when you're doing it, that's why I always say that our job, I think, is the best and the worst job in the world. It's the best job in the world when you're doing it, but it's the worst job in the world when you're not. And it's just about being able to compartmentalize the rough with the smooth, and being able to, say that it's okay. I'm going to get the next thing, and just keep plowing away at it, because it will come. I think for anybody that works hard enough, you make your own luck, don't you? And I think for the 0.0001, however many people we say that are lucky and just happen to land on their feet and just keep going, I think that they need to, unless they work it themselves as well, it will fall for them, because they, if they don't work hard, it will fall.
Yeah,
you need to keep working at it.
Couldn't agree more.
Love that.
And yeah, we agree.
We do.
What does Matthew McConaughey say? I know that I might be running out of time, but Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Yeah,
no, just that.
All right. No, but he also says his. But he talks about his. I think it was his Oscar acceptance speech where he's asked who his hero was, and then he says, "My hero is me in 10 years' time."
Yes,
and then he gets asked again 10 years later, "Who's your hero?" And he goes, "No, it's not me. It's not that guy. It's me in 5 years."
Yeah.
So you're always. I think it's such a lovely mantra to go by. Like, you're always working to better yourself and to push your limit, I guess.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think that's something that group that we had in that place, in that time, like all or most of those people, I think, were doing that alongside it.
Yeah.
Like, let's not just make the most out of this, but you're like, I can be better. And keep going. And, looking at all those people now, it's a wonderful, wonderful sort of array of outcomes.
Yeah, because not everyone is doing what we were setting out to do, but I'd wager that they're happier doing what they're doing now than they were, 10 years ago, trying to do something that probably just wasn't for them.
And arguably successful. All of them in that, because of that mindset of going, I'm going to be better, I'm going to learn, I'm going to be better and better and better and better and better. Like, whatever avenue they chose, like that skill set on that mindset perhaps is super important. Right, without changing your facial expression, he literally didn't move at all. He's a
very
pro.
good.
Can take direction, tick. We're going to guess whether you have lied, and if so, what we think it is. Do you have a suggestion, Bobby?
I don't think he's lied.
Okay, listeners at home, do you agree with Bobby? And do you also agree with me, because I agree with Bobby?
Haha.
So tell us now, did you manage to lie?
I did not.
Oh my God, it really took me on a journey there.
I was like, okay.
I was with you. Fantastic. So if you guessed that Lawrence had lied, you suck. No. -1 points for you. And if you got it right, congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. It's time for another game.
Okay.
So we're going to play a game of this or that. It's a 1 minute lightning round a la Friends. Steffan, I'll give you 2 options. You got to pick one, and we go as quick as we can. All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Eggs or bacon?
Bacon.
White bread or brown bread?
Brown bread.
The US office or Friends?
Friends.
Cardio or resistance training?
Cardio.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Singing or acting?
Acting.
Charity or Chloe?
Of charity.
Yoga or Pilates?
Yoga.
Family Guy or Love Island?
Family Guy.
Domino's Pizza or Papa John's?
Papa John's.
Sport or dance?
Sport.
Alcohol or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Matching socks or mismatching socks?
Mismatching socks.
Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Coca-Cola.
Prada or Louis Vuitton?
Prada.
Game of Thrones or Glee?
Game of Thrones or Glee? Game of Thrones.
Books or Kindle?
Books.
Clean shaven or beard?
Beard.
Personal chef or personal stylist?
Personal stylist.
Opening night or press night?
Opening night.
Sexy or smart?
Smart.
Shower or bath?
Bath.
Driving or flying?
Flying.
Dogs or babies?
Dogs.
Snakes or badgers?
Snakes.
Theme park or water park?
Water park.
Running or walking?
Running.
Director or choreographer?
Director.
Bobby or Steffan?
Steffan.
There were some good answers in there. It felt long.
It was 1 minute 12.
Ooh, you took some decision times.
There was some.
There is no prize anyway. So
I think the Chloe or charity was a mean one.
that felt brutal. When you mentioned the Sophie's Choice earlier on, I was like, this is going to be good.
Fantastic.
Let's
Playing
you
right
relive
into
it.
our hands.
Well, Lawrence, mate, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Brilliant. Thank you. I've had so much fun. Thank you very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, if you have enjoyed this episode, please watch more of Lawrence on Emmerdale at either 7 or 7:30.
It's 7:30. It used to be 7, and then it moved to 7:30. That's why I was confused.
To be fair, if you went home and watched it after working on it all day, that might be.
It trips me out. I never do that.
You'd be like, what block am I in?
I'm still confused.
Thank you at home or wherever you might be for listening.
Yeah, and if you've enjoyed this episode, click those like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Instagram at Fit2Perform West End. As always, if you've got any questions you want answered, you know what to do. Slip slide into those DMs. I'll be piloting a helicopter.
I thought you were going to say with Charity and Chloe.
No. Come on.
Thanks again for listening. And if you like what you've heard, we've been Fit2 Talk with our wonderful guest, Lawrence Robb, and your hosts, me, Steffan.
And me, Bobby. And if you didn't like it, we've been Joe Wicks. Peace out.